So the first semi-final, Roddick and Federer to come. This should be some afternoon. Hope you can enjoy it with us. Rainer Schuettler then of Germany, Andre Agassi of the USA.
I think that was a good point, Simon. I think it is difficult to see how Schuettler can get a result in this match, because it would be different if he was coming into here playing very well and very confident, but he's not. He's been hitting the ball poorly all week. He's managed to win when he hasn't played well, which is very good in itself, but I think Agassi of the two is playing slightly better, and because their games are very similar, he's got a distinct advantage.
We're ready to go then. Schuettler to begin. Most of us ready to go, but some people still taking their seats behind Schuettler. Agassi's in charge here. He'll wait till everyone's still. Agassi bidding to become the oldest winner, or oldest finalist rather, in this tournament since Arthur Ashe back in 1978. At the age of 35, Ashe lost to McEnroe in the final then, and it was the Masters in New York. Agassi 33 and a half. Schuettler, the second oldest player in the tournament, but some 6 years younger than Andre. And one more stat, and then I promise I'll leave out the maths. Agassi has won more titles than all the other competitors here in Houston put together. It's extraordinary. Aiming for his 59th title.
15-30.
Once again, sorry about the voice, but Jason assures me it's sounding extraordinarily sexy. And he's a good judge on these things.
I think you just sound sick. That's nothing to do with the tone of your voice.
Fine shot.
Down the line is going to be important for both of these players, because there's going to be a lot of cross-court shots early on, and then as soon as somebody gets an opportunity, then it's going to be the one that can change direction on the ball most effectively that's going to have the advantage in the rally. On this occasion, it was obviously Schuettler.
That was the shot that Nalbandian was so critical against Andre in their round-robin match.
We saw the other day when Agassi played against Nalbandian, he had problems with his backhand down the line. It wasn't anywhere near as good as he would want it to be. Again, there, just overcooking it a tad.
Game, Schuettler. First game.
So, Schuettler off to a sound start. That may make him feel a little more positive about life, which apparently hasn't been so much this morning. There's a tournament promoter, Jim McInvale, Mattress Mac they call him because of his furniture store. And he was very much in evidence down on court, orchestrating things when the rain came and even using the squeezy himself. He's a hands-on guy.
He's looking a bit damp there, needs to change his shirt. Did work hard though to try and get the court dry, much to his credit. But perhaps he should have had a little bit more forethought and then wouldn't have found himself in that situation. Good stuff from Agassi. These are the types of rallies that he'll want to try and reproduce as much as possible, where he's in charge, he's standing on or around the baseline, and anything short he can take full advantage of.
Sure. Excuse me, man. Can you take that sign down, please? Thanks.
Interesting, yeah. The sign that's he wants
Thanks
down says, "We love Andre."
Not anymore.
No. It's got "We love Reiner" on the other side.
13.
But he likes a very ordered world, Andre, doesn't he? Everyone's got him in their place doing exactly what he expects them to do. A bit like you, Jason.
Absolutely. I think we'd be good roommates, Andre and I. Both control freaks.
And that's how Agassi will expect to beat Schuettler. Nothing too extravagant yet. Doesn't he look at Geezer? Gil Ray's his fitness coach, confidant, best friend, call him what you want.
I just want to know what's in that bag. He has it with him every single day. Never lets it go.
You know the trouble with you? You haven't got the guts to ask.
Too right.
First ace of the match. It's an American net, all right.
15.
Terrific shot from Schuettler.
It's going to be important that he does take advantage of any poor returns from Agassi, because Agassi is going to try and put him under as much pressure as possible. So first serve percentage going to be important to Schuettler's chances of winning the match.
$40-15.
No service breaks yet, none looking likely, but I would think by the time this is over, we'll have had quite a few.
Agassi served particularly well the other night against Ferrero in the third set. It's important for him to try and reproduce that kind of form to give him enough cheap points. He doesn't have to work extremely hard to get the right result.
Game, Schuettler. Schuettler leads 2-1.
Nothing doing for Andre quite yet, taking time to impose himself on the match. Rather damp start to the match, 2-1. I guess sometimes if there is a rain delay, it does have an effect in all sorts of mind games you play with yourself, try to be really up for when you go out. And of course, you couldn't be more up for a semi-final of the year-end championships, but it's a slightly damp atmosphere about it.
Yeah, no question. I think the crowd as well. You know, they've been hanging around for a couple of hours outside amongst the damp surroundings of the centre court, and it is difficult to it's much different to starting the match at the appointed time in a good frame of mind. But I think Schuettler started well, because you've got to keep an eye on his unforced errors. He's only made a couple in the first 3 games. And against Agassi, you've got to remember that's pretty good stats, and it's very important to his game plan that he gives away very few cheap points today, and I think the signs are relatively good for Schuettler early on.
Schuettler started really well against Guillermo Coria. Didn't start too well against Roddick, and never really got started against Moy. Amazing year he's had. I was saying before that even the German journalists who followed him right the way around the world were absolutely amazed. First of all, that he got to the Australian Open, and then that he carried on the form right the way through. And even at the end of the year, he was winning back-to-back titles in Tokyo and Lyon.
I think that hurt him a little bit, winning those 2 tournaments, because since then he has struggled to reproduce the form that he showed for much of the year. I think that took pretty much everything he had, and he's just almost falling over the finishing line towards the end of the year now.
Yes, he and Roddick are the guys who are saying that they're most... Andre. That brings the crowd alive.
It's amazing stuff, really. You wouldn't think of him as an outstanding volleyer, but nice little approach shot up the line, high percentage, and then Schuettler with the exquisite lob over the backhand side. You've got to think Agassi's going to play a defensive shot in that situation, but not even looking at the ball, creating an exceptionally good angle to win the point.
Well played, Ryan. He knew what he was going to do there as soon as he saw the opportunity.
I think it's important to try and keep Agassi guessing. An excellent tactic. We don't see him use that very often. And of course, once Agassi had gone down the line, it did leave the short angle cross-court volley open for Schuettler. Some good anticipation from the German and movement at the net.
Yeah, that cord put him out of kilter there, Andre, and Schuettler's threatening. Nailed it. Very close to the line, but Andre threaded the needle there, and such an important shot it was.
I thought the tactic was a good one from Schuettler, but if you do approach cross-court, it does give the opponent the angles. You can either go down the line or back behind their opponent, and Agassi on this occasion just taking a little bit of pace off the ball and adding a little bit of spin so that he got the accuracy he required.
What happened to Andre there?
Just didn't anticipate the shot, simple as that. Excellent disguise from Schuettler. Agassi was expecting him just to play a normal slice cross-court.
He could have got it.
But it was just didn't see the ball quick enough. And you know what he did in his match the other day? He didn't chase down balls that he thought he was very slight chance of getting.
Advantage Agassi.
I guess he'll be relieved that he missed that one.
But it is a good tactic from Schuettler to be able to draw Agassi into the net. Pat Rafter's used that on occasion against Agassi through the years. Henman also playing against Agassi with a short slice halfway up the court.
Called off, nodding his head as if to say to Schuettler, who was in his eye line, that's the way, keep on doing it.
Game Agassi.
And I guess watching the now banded match, which we saw just a little while before we came on air,
2-all.
would tell, called off, and would tell Schuettler that that's the tactic to employ.
Yeah, it was interesting. Agassi was saying the other day he was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. His down the line backhand wasn't working particularly well, and therefore he had to stay in a cross-court rally. But when playing against players that do like to go down the line and change direction on the ball, it's a risky tactic.
Love 50.
Schuettler just got a bit of dampness, turning from the rain, just a little bit of sweat on his racket. It's a damp kind of day, still pretty humid.
Yeah, I think the players are going to get through a couple of shirts. They're going to have to keep the liquid intake high because it's very sticky down there.
Temperature's been all over the place today, but I think it's around 23, something like that. Anticipation and amazing control from Rainer Schuettler.
An excellent point, and that'll give him a lot of confidence because Agassi came at him with two really good shots and still failed to win the point. All about anticipation and control of the angle of the racket face on contact with the ball. Not only to get the ball over the net, but to hit it softly enough that it falls into the court.
Fine shot, single-handed backhand, double-handed backhand, off forehand.
Really good to try and mix things up when playing against Agassi. Keep the ball low on the slice and then take advantage of anything slightly short. Usually he would hit a backhand there and perhaps go down the line. So again, keeping Agassi guessing with exactly what he's going to do in any given situation.
40-15.
Well, that's incredible, the angle he got there at that speed.
I'm going to be unkind. I don't think he timed it as he would have liked, just slightly coming off centre, and that's why the angle he created was outrageous, but he'll take it.
Game, Schuettler.
Close
Schuettler
score.
leads 3-2.
Agassi, give or take one or two outstanding shots, yet to hit the heights. And he's within Schuettler's compass at the moment. German in front, 3-2. It's been a strange week for people almost redefining themselves, hasn't it? When you think of Carlos Moya, who was dreadful all week and then came out yesterday and played really well against Schuettler. Schuettler, who was dreadful yesterday, yes, made out again 100% commitment. Playing pretty well today. Juan Carlos Ferrero played one good match, but either side, two really poor ones.
It really has. It's been a good start for Schuettler in this match, and I think he'll be delighted, especially given the way he played in his first couple.
Working hard even when he's sitting still, Andreas, he always does. There's not a moment lost in his life wherever he is. He really is an inspiration.
That's why I think he'd like to play some really good tennis. He's put in a lot of effort to prepare for this tournament and work hard to get through the group stages. It'd be a big bonus if he could perform well today.
Cast my mind back to the opening stages of the match against Juan Carlos Ferrero. We were saying he was getting beat so badly, but carried on. It would be a very long winter and a lot of thought about whether he could compete with these guys. Then he turned it around. Same against Nel Bandit, out of the match. He came back to win it. So he won't be at all too concerned with his rather sluggish start here.
Yeah, he said in the press conference, obviously it's important to finish the match better than start the way he starts it. That's exactly what's happened in the group matches that he's played, and as long as he does that today, I think he'll be a happy camper.
2-3.
It was interesting what Schuettler was saying though in his press conference yesterday, that now he feels there's no pressure on him whatsoever, so he can relax today, he can go out, hopefully enjoy himself, and I think he's started to do that, and he's hitting the ball better as a result.
You know, I hate to contradict you, Jason. Isn't there an element sometimes with players, though, that they'll say something in a press conference, but the next day you're trying to tell Schuettler now there's no pressure on him, with all the money that's at stake?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He will want to do as well today as he would have done in the final of the Australian Open. There's no doubt about that. Just looking slightly concerned there, missing the backhand down the line. I think the tactic was a good one, and I'm sure Dirk Hordorf will be delighted with the way that Schuettler's started to time the ball. It's the first time really this week that we've seen that on the match court from the German.
Game, Agassi. Three all.
Talking about the commitment that Schuettler would have, even for him, he's earned what, $1.5 million this year, nearly $4 million total, just for winning this one match, $370,000, just for this one match.
It's nice work if you can get it.
Think he'll ever come back? It was a joke.
Love 15.
Second double.
This is a stage in the set where you've got to be looking to Agassi to start to play slightly better, put the pressure on Schuettler a little bit. All the experience that he has to draw upon.
But I think people at home, actually, going back to the money, I find it difficult to equate pressure and that kind of money. It would put pressure on anybody. Are we seriously saying that $370,000 of prize money is no pressure? Obviously, it's not to Agassi. He is nearly a billionaire. But to Schuettler, surely that puts a bit of pressure on.
He'll be aware of how much prize money is on offer, but yesterday he didn't give his best efforts and he would have got 120,000, so it's all relative.
Yeah. It may be all relative, but it's scarcely believable for the likes of me.
$30-15.
There's a picture of relaxation.
Great stuff from Schuettler, and I think this is sending out a good message to Agassi early on. He's playing the lines well, and Agassi, as we've seen throughout his career really, but particularly this week, he doesn't recover well when behind under pressure. He doesn't tend to get good enough length, and then Schuettler taking full advantage of that fact.
Still a match that hasn't really got started. The moment the styles of the two players are cancelling each other out.
Game, Schuettler, new balls please.
No signs of Agassi finding the magic of his match against Nalbandian in the third set, and indeed against Ferreira. It's Schuettler at the moment, edging in front, serving first and leading 4 games to 3. Some styles really work, don't they? We saw that with Roddick and Correa, wonderful punch and counter punch. These two guys, in essence, are counter punchers.
Well, there's no question about the fact that they do play very similarly, and I think the difference between them playing now and at the beginning of the year is Agassi was virtually unbeatable and playing some of the best tennis that he's played for years, and Schuettler was very inexperienced at playing against players of Agassi's quality. Now he's had a year to get used to that. He's had some notable wins. He's much more confident, so when he steps on the match court today, he's going to have a very different attitude to the one he had in Melbourne all those months ago, and I think that makes a big difference. And I think also Agassi's state of mind is very different today than it was at the beginning of the year.
So 7 games with serve comfortably so. No breaks, no break points.
Time.
That's where we are at the moment. Sense it's the calm before the storm. Hope so. And one storm of the clement kind, but hoping for some tennis terms here. New balls. He is to beat Agassi. That may be the barometer of how successful he is. Fine cross court.
Schuettler likes that, likes to be under pressure on the run, and then he has the ability to be able to get the ball back cross court lower than the height of the net, as he did on that occasion. It really does put a lot of pressure on the opposition.
I'm not sure he had total control there. I think it landed on the line.
30-15.
It does make it difficult because the ball tends to skid a little bit. Plus, we know that's the side of the court which does have a few undulations, and I think Schuettler wasn't too pleased with the bounce either.
First sign that the German was getting a little ratty.
40
conditions. Frustration, obviously trying to dictate, not really been able to dictate too much because Schuettler hasn't given him too much, but looked like he was on the march there.
And we've seen a lot of that from Agassi all week, really. He hasn't been able to string together enough good points or games to really build his confidence up to where he'd want it to be. Too many unforced errors at the moment from Agassi.
Agassi.
Ball return. It was 79-mile-an-hour serve. Yes, it kicked, but not that violently. No answer. 4-all it is. 34 minutes. The first guy who really hits form wins this set.
No doubt about it, and I think they'll have then a huge advantage going into the second set for the remainder of the match. So the next 5 or 10 minutes could tell us a lot.
13.
No cigar.
Just make life so much easier for Agassi if he could start to contact the ball a little bit better on that side when he changes direction, because it would put Schuettler under so much more pressure.
That's the job.
And that's the difference. You suddenly force Schuettler to play the forehand with a continental grip with slice on it. So there's no way then he's going to stay in the rally much longer with Agassi dominating as he likes to do. Without that shot, he has to stay in the rally with Schuettler, and that's exactly what the German wants.
Every time he tries to inject something, really get on the offense, he's an offensive player, Agassi. Something goes badly adrift. He'll, having seen him 3 times find some form, will, I guess, be confident he can do it again. But it's not good at the moment.
Game, Schuettler. Schuettler leads 5-4.
Waving the fist. Again, no real pressure on him. It's a rather limp performance from Andre Agassi at the moment. Schuettler in front still, 5-4.
It's amazing to think that we've played 9 games, and as you say, Simon, neither player has really fired at the moment. Neither are serving particularly well. First serves both below 50%, but they are having a lot of success. But it's not because the quality of the service, because the returner hasn't really got their eye in yet. They haven't been able to put their opponent under any pressure, and that's unusual when we're talking about players of the caliber of Agassi and Schuettler. That's a big strength in their game plans. When that's not working, then we tend to just get a little staccato match where 1 or 2 good shots and then just a couple of unforced errors, and the crowd are waiting for the match to really come to life, and it's a very strange atmosphere out there at the moment.
It needs the lights. It needs it to be nighttime. Yeah, it's been that kind of match. It's going to sink below the seats. To Jason's friends.
I wish.
Very clean ones in there.
They're having just as much fun looking at each other on the screen as they are watching the match at the moment.
I'll get some more right.
So Mattenvale at the top. Now he owns the tournament. He's seeing it from every vantage point.
Got a couple of his own chairs up there, keep them nice and comfortable.
And all sorts of weather today. Beautiful morning, then a storm, and now look at it. We need some tennis to match the weather.
Can you hear me, Stefan? I'm in, Stefan. Towels, more towels.
Agassi serving to stay on the set. amazing the way that serve kicked.
It's an excellent tactic to use. If Agassi isn't aggressive enough on it, then it's an excellent advantage for the remainder of the rally.
That's an Andre Agassi type rally. Manoeuvring the opponent round, corner to corner. Forcing the error. Even Schuettler looked tired at the end of that.
13-15.
Such an advantage if Agassi can force Schuettler to play a single-handed backhand. Nowhere near as confident as when he executes with both.
Second guessed in there.
And we talked about the importance of the second serve and how the fact that neither player had really done what they would have liked, particularly off the second serve, but on this occasion 80 miles an hour generated by Schuettler and doing the job.
Agassi dictating from the serve. And he's starting to make Schuettler really work now for the first time. It's a grueling game, this one, for the German.
Game, Agassi.
Crowd just beginning to get into it. Taken a while. 43 minutes of it going. It's his most pleasing game to date. A couple of meaningful rallies for Andre.
Tactic by Schuettler, again drawing Agassi in, but really poor execution from the American once he got up there, trying to go short angle cross, but gave the ball way too much air. Schuettler anticipating very easily and executing the necessary thereafter.
Shot from Andre. Needed to be.
Didn't quite do enough with the approach shot here, Schuettler. If you're going to approach with the slice, you've got to keep it nice and low and really get it biting into the court. Agassi was able to prepare. And once he's able to do that, then more often than not, he's going to be able to execute too.
Getting some reward, isn't he, down the Andre Agassi backhand side.
Particularly when he turns him around. Agassi doesn't move very well once he's already started to go in the other direction. And so the shot back behind from Schuettler is paying dividends.
critical shot. And we have no compunction about going for it.
They're very committed, and that's the key. When you want to take this shot on, you have to have belief that you're going to make it, because it is high risk. Going over the high parts of the net, you don't have much court to head into. But if you do make it, it can be very effective.
Fantastic.
And so Agassi used that shot once before this week, and it's very effective. The guy coming into the net, once he sees Agassi open the angle directly, he starts to think he's going to go short angle cross court with it and just dink it down to the feet. So once he really puts his arm through the ball and goes back down the line, the surprise element's usually enough to win the point.
Well played. Two of his best shots back to back. Agassi on the prowl.
Well, a great change up here from Agassi. He's content to rally. He's keeping a relatively good length, but then moving inside the baseline, flattening the shot out, generating a little bit more pace, and that was enough to beat Schuettler.
Well played, Ryan Schuettler. That was his best point of the match so far. He was seen down to the rally, but he found a way to get back in it.
Turning defense into attack, and that was the shot. The forehand cross-court landing within a foot of the baseline, and therefore Agassi wasn't able to be aggressive on it. And Schuettler had enough time to run around and use the forehand. So good footwork and excellent defense.
Game, Schuettler.
Good tennis. The best game of the match so far. Agassi threatening, Schuettler responding well. And Agassi will serve for the second time to stay in the set.
Well, it's been an interesting set, and I think the one thing that's surprised us both, Simon, is the fact that the players haven't returned serve as well as we thought they might. If we have a look at the service profiles, we see that they're not serving a high enough percentage of first serves in, but they're still winning a high percentage of points, 72 on the first serve for Schuettler. But look at this, 67% of points won when he's down to his second serve, and against Agassi, one of the best receivers in the world to ever have played the game. That's an excellent statistic.
Approach Andre Agassi, because it's at times like this that you expect Agassi to make that final step up, take care of business.
Yeah, certainly do, and I think he's got to try and improve his first serve percentage. That's one of the key areas, and also improve the way that he's dealing with Schuettler's second serve. But you would expect, having all the experience to draw upon, having won 58 titles, that when he gets to this stage in a set, that's when he starts to feel good about the situation, because he knows he's done it more often than any of the other players in this event probably put together, to be able to deliver under pressure when it matters most. And that's what it's all about when you're playing against the best players in the world, playing the big points well.
I can see it 5-6.
Love 15.
The contingent getting quite excited now, sensing there could be a bit of frailty here. Agassi disproved them. a fairly flying, but that was a very aggressive point from Andre.
We've seen him come into the net a little bit this week, but he hasn't always volleyed as assuredly as this. Nice contact with the ball, got enough pace on it to force Schuettler to try and get the ball back in with just the one hand. So it was a good tactic from Agassi, taking Schuettler out of his comfort zone.
That'll be a welcome sound for most of the supporters here. Was wide. I think he thought that the shot, the forehand was going to be good enough and didn't really concentrate, and that's not something you normally associate with Andre Agassi.
Very, very dangerous. Schuettler is so very effective under pressure, on the run. More often than not, he'll get that ball back cross court and lower than the height of the net. It's going to make life very difficult for the incoming volleyer.
Schuettler 2 points in the set. It's there. What a wondrous shot there, and he's given him set point.
Well, the surprise element was the key here. Agassi expecting Schuettler just to play a normal slice.
It's the first break point of the set of the match, and it comes at set point. And he's got it. Magnificent from Rainer Schuettler. Just when you expected Agassi to come up and make a difference, he's failed to do so. And Rainer Schuettler finishing in fine form. And he's a set to the good against the All-American hero. "54 minutes, and not a whole heap of good stats there for Andre Agassi. Rainer Schuettler did what he had to do remarkably well. Some winners from Schuettler. It wasn't the most watchable set of all time, but just when Agassi started to play better, Schuettler produced the best tennis of the match and finished amazing style.
Interesting thing now is how are both players going to react to the winning and the losing of that opening set. For Schuettler now, he's got to believe that he has an excellent chance to win the match. Is that going to inhibit him somewhat in the second set? Agassi, we've already seen him lose the opening set on 2 occasions this week, and he's come through in one of those against Ferrero. No, in one of those, in fact, and then against Ferrero won the opening set, but he did recover well against Ferrero, having lost the opening set and raised his level of play. Is he going to be able to do that again today?
I think we're in for the long haul here. But maybe they're thinking more optimistically in German terms than that. Crowd were in it towards the end, and they need to keep on right behind Andre, right the way through this set, make life difficult for Schuettler. Not that he'll be dwarfed by it, but I think it might raise.
Second set, Schuettler to serve. 15 love.
So he's really perked up from where he was this morning. Here he is against the great Andre. Set up, looking good. Andre, champion here in Houston in the clay court championships back in April. His last title. It's the offense that's just not working. Defensively, he's working okay, Agassi, but as soon as he switches to offense, his stats are wrong.
And that's no good for his game plan, because, of course, he likes to dominate his opponents as much as possible, and simply not being able to do that this afternoon because he's making too many unforced errors when he tries.
Remember the match against Nalbandian, Ferrero. Too good. Too fast for him, Schuettler there.
Great anticipation as well. He always knew where Agassi was going to try and play the ball. He was already moving there to his right when Agassi approached. He was already moving up the court once Agassi had made contact with the ball at the net. And then he just shortened his swing. Didn't want to generate too much pace. Needed the accuracy.
Out of context and out of nowhere.
Nice early ball. See how he takes it on the rise, just above hip height, because his position was well inside the baseline.
First serve. I've got to give him a first serve because of that. Yeah, but it could have interrupted him, sorry.
I don't think so, to be honest. I don't know what that was all about. The service straight in the net.
Deuce.
Oh, that's an amazing double. Came straight out of his hand.
He has been having problems. It is humid down there on the court. You can see here, just as he was following through, the amount of sweat that was coming off his arm and body, just causing him to lose control of the racket.
There's little moments like that that might make the dark thoughts re-emerge for Schuettler. Isn't it amazing? I do sense that might be a pivotal moment.
See Schuettler there a little bit sarcastic, complaining about the grip on his racket. And that's what he's been doing earlier in the week when things haven't been going particularly well for him. He's been getting very down on himself and the conditions. He needs to really concentrate now. He's in an excellent position. He can't afford to let Agassi get a lead in this second set.
Really quick serve out wide. Got to be careful here, Schuettler. pressure. Agassi breaks for the first time. And coming up now, I think a whole series of service breaks, but it's Agassi who's taken first bite in this second set. Schuettler fed up with himself, fed up with the grip, suddenly looking less than he was for the first hour of this match.
That last rally was very important because it was the first time really Agassi had anticipated that Schuettler was going to play a short angle slice, and he was up to it much quicker than usual. Therefore, he was able to play a much better approach shot. Now he's got his first break of serve. It's going to be interesting to see whether Agassi starts to play a lot more confidently and he's able to dominate Schuettler much more because of that.
Sun setting, but Andre Agassi maybe emerging from the gloom.
Okay, mate.
1-love with a break.
15-love.
No doubt about it, Schuettler has gone off the boil big time. He was so consistent before, digging in hard, but not at the moment. First double of the match for Agassi. Well, he didn't deserve to win the point. Just got a bit too careful.
Agassi was in total control, and you would have expected him to win the point, particularly once he got Schuettler out of position with a short angle backhand, but didn't do enough with the initial volley. And because he'd gone deep cross court, then it did open up the angles for Schuettler, and Schuettler staying nice and cool under pressure.
Better offense from Andre.
Agassi leads 2-love.
It was a nice game to consolidate the break of serve early on. And even though he lost a couple of points, he was still in control of those rallies, so I think that will give him even more confidence. He's got to start playing his natural game style, which is to try and make Schuettler run as much as possible. And now hopefully he's going to have the confidence to be able to do just that.
This is Agassi stepping up now. There were moments when he was unsure where he was stepping down to try and
Lovely.
find some form, but he's stepping up for it.
So important for Schuettler when under pressure to be able to try and get good length on the ball. If he doesn't, Agassi's going to be there to take advantage of that.
Let for serve. Let for serve.
Probably here, Schuettler. Little monologue to Dirk Hoordoff. He's not a happy camper.
Love 30.
The problem is that the crowd who are very pro Agassi will realise he's down in the dumps and they're not going to let him go. Starting to make a number of unforced errors now. Number 10 on the backhand. Mark Miles, the chief executive of the ATP, alongside Tim Phillips, the chairman of the All England Club. Suddenly, it's all Agassi.
It's a great first shot there from Agassi. Once Schuettler tried to come in, he just dropped the ball lower than the height of the net, forcing Schuettler to volley up, and then he was able to play a much more aggressive shot on the second.
Like this.
3 points for a double break.
Game. Agassi. Agassi leads 3-1.
Suddenly it's transformed. Amazing, isn't it? And it all dates from that one moment when Schuettler lost control of the racket on the serve. Three love, Agassi. It's looking very good now for the American.
Well, it's good stuff from Agassi, and I think if we use TMI to have a look at the players' return hit points, we'll see there's a distinct difference between the tactics used. Starting with Agassi, the yellow balls are the first serves and the black balls are the second serves. You can see how early he's trying to take the ball. He's trying to dominate the rally. He wasn't able to do so through much of the first set, but now he's starting to do just that. If we flip it around and we have a look at Schuettler's, we'll see a distinct change in tactics. On the right-hand side of your screen, those black balls, the second serve returns way back behind the baseline, and he's taking the majority of those on the forehand. But look at the left-hand side of your screen. The backhand is taking that well inside the baseline, so Agassi can't get him out of position.
There's plenty of Andre Agassi to go around here right now. You can sense that he'll start to relax. He says himself he does get nervous in matches if the force isn't with him. It looks as if it's coming back.
We've seen all week with Agassi, he's played some good tennis, some very good tennis, but some mediocre tennis, and he hasn't really played a match yet where he's played well throughout. Today's another example of that. Really struggled to find his form in that opening set. We were always waiting for him to change gear, and I think it just came a little bit later than we expected. We expected him to do it maybe at 4-all, 5-all in the opening set. But as soon as you say, Simon, Schuettler lost control of his racket on the second serve, and I started to get a little bit down on himself. Agassi's taken full advantage, and now he's sitting pretty in the second set.
Okay.
Two doubles each now. Agassi knows better than anyone the key here. He's got Schuettler down where he wants him. He wants to keep him.
14-15.
Serving so much better now, Agassi. 49% for the match, but 70% in this set, and it's such a key element to his game. Whether it wins him a free point or whether it allows him then to start ahead in the rally, it's vital.
Game Agassi, you ball, please.
Well,
Agassi
there have been
leads
so many twists
4
and
love.
turns this week in matches involving Andre. You're hesitant to rush in and commit, but it's looking very
Roll
good
it
for
back, go
Andre
ahead.
now.
Come on.
I think
Roll
there's
it
no
back,
doubt,
please. Come
really,
on.
that Schuettler will be already thinking about the deciding set, so I don't think we're going to see a sterling comeback from the German. But much depends on how he reacts, and of course how Agassi reacts at the beginning of the third set.
Schuettler at love 4.
Love 15.
Agassi striking the ball so much more fiercely now in the backhand.
So much more confident. It's amazing what a difference a few games will make. Every ball coming out of the middle of the racket and hit with really nice pace.
Rather knowing look from Dirk Hordorf.
15-30.
It's interesting, coaches know their players, and obviously Dirk knows Reiner very, very well indeed, and he knows he's pretty much done for this set, but he's hoping he's got something in reserve for the decider.
$15-14.
2 break points for a third successive break.
Let's for serve.
Agassi's the boss, no doubt about it right now. He's a set down, but this set has been no contest. So Agassi with 3 breaks leads 5-love. For all the years I've been in tennis, 106 at least, it never ceases to amaze me how finely balanced things are in tennis. There's Schuettler playing pretty well, Agassi playing not quite so well, and then suddenly something turns and it's a completely different match.
Well, I think a lot of that depends as well on the frame of mind of the players that we were talking about. Schuettler's has been very fragile this week, so he's managing to keep it together in the opening set. You saw some very positive body language from him once he managed to pocket that opening set, but it was almost like he was waiting for something to go wrong and something to blame, and you saw him afterwards, you know, sarcastically applauding the fact that he's got a bad grip on his racket. They're the same grips he always uses. They're the same week in, week out when he wins tournaments. They're the same grips, but looking for excuses. And he's done that for much of the week. And against Agassi, you simply can't afford to do that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Schuettler reacts at the beginning of the third set.
Thinking hard, working hard, and beginning to look like the authentic Andre Agassi. Bidding to become the youngest ever winner of the year-end championships. The youngest, the oldest.
Youngest in mind, if not in body.
Well, that's true. Thanks for rescuing me. Arthur Ashe got to the final here. Way back in 1978, lost to McEnroe. His brother is here commentating, but Andre will be the oldest winner.
Love 15.
I guess his serve is starting consistently to wrong the foot, the German.
He desperately needed to improve it. In the first set, he was struggling with his first serve percentage, but it's getting better all the time, and Schuettler's really struggling to get a read on it.
So free swing to the racket from Schuettler here, but I don't think this means an awful lot.
Now, this was quite strange because the serve wasn't particularly good and the return wasn't that much better. It was only 70 miles an hour, but Agassi just failing to respond.
Perhaps they both switched off. This set's got such an air of inevitability about it. Anyway, there are 2 break points for Rainer Schuettler. You can see they're pretty good on the break points.
Lovely little half volley from Agassi there. Didn't try and do too much with it. Realised it was a big point, just cushioning the ball into the space. That's the advantage of having 2 hands. The left one can help you with the control in situations like that.
Offensive shots more and more now holding sway. He was in 92 miles an hour on that last shot. Most of it himself. That's incredible play from Schuettler. Quite work out his game plan here or his mindset.
Yeah, I think he just wants to end the point as quickly as possible. Doesn't want to spend any unnecessary energy. No chance to get back into this set.
My mum always used to tell me, lazy people take the most pains. Schuettler's lazy, but he's looked for the short route here, and he hasn't got it.
Absolutely right, and points like this from Agassi will give him a lot of confidence going into the deciding set. An excellent backhand. Again, the length not good enough from Schuettler, and this is a shot which is a good indication of Agassi's confidence level, and it's working well at the moment.
Advantage Agassi.
Set point then. Schuettler didn't mean the shot to be so good. He's spending an awful lot of energy. Cahill probably never doubted it. Knew it would come at some time. The question was when. Better hitting from Schuettler. Control about that shot.
Excellent length, and then as a result of Agassi dropping the ball short, he's able to get around and use his forehand. So nice change up, good footwork, well inside the baseline.
Schuettler not ready, forcing Agassi to wait. 5th break point. It's turning out to be the longest game of the match.
Advantage, Agassi.
115 miles an hour, just 2 miles an hour slower than his quickest so far. 2nd set point.
Game. 2nd set. Agassi.
So Schuettler loses a set 6-love for only the 2nd time in the year.
1 set all.
Beaten by Gaston Gaudio in a Davis Cup match. 6-love 3rd set there. He gave it away. Didn't give this one away, but he wasn't very good. 1 set each. So it all switched on that call, that moment, but right at the start of the 2nd set, when Schuettler just threw up that serve, lost control of it, and after that he seemed to lose control of the whole match.
Well, he certainly did. When you have a look at the statistics, 29% on serve, absolutely ludicrous for someone that was playing so well. More unforced errors than winners, when it was very much the opposite in the opening set. Agassi, on the other hand, very much improving his statistics, 68% of first serves. He'll be delighted if he can keep it around there for the deciding set, and hitting more winners than unforced errors. That was very much reversed in the opening set, taking advantage of all 3 of his break points too, Agassi, so he's also starting to return so better. So things are looking very good for the American as we go into the deciding set.
Agassi getting strong at the start of the set, looking very good for the first 3 games, and then taking his foot off the accelerator. To a certain extent, he'd done enough. And Schuettler, you have to say, self-destructed in that opening game. And it may well be the beginning of the end for him as far as this tournament's concerned. Agassi will obviously, after a 6-love 2nd set, he has to go in as the favourite going into the 3rd.
No doubt about the fact that momentum's on Agassi's side, and I think if he's able to get an early lead on Schuettler, then I think the match will be all but over as a contest, because Schuettler's attitude this week has been one of a very tired athlete, and I think that Agassi has enough in reserve to be able to take advantage of that.
Schuettler's 101st match of the year. Agassi last won this title when it was the ATP World Championship in Frankfurt in 1990, some 13 years ago. Is he homing in on the title here? Could be. 3rd set, Schuettler to begin it, and maybe a very important game this one. Strangely, Agassi doesn't have a good record in this championship. He's only got to the semi-final 5 times, 13 times he's been.
No, he tends to start the year very strongly indeed down in Australia, but he tends to finish it relatively weakly.
Schuettler looking down at the court in disgust. Thinks he got a sharp bounce there.
So he needs to be concentrating on winning the match with everything that he has, rather than concentrating on things that aren't quite as he would like.
Another quick look round at Dirk Hordoff, and the German camp exhorting him now. Look of frustration there. But when the looks were exchanged, there was fierce clapping of hands to say, come on. Right here could be where you ruin your chances of winning this match. Again, Schuettler looking across as if to say, I can't do anything with this racket. The wind's getting up as well, as if there's not enough problems for Schuettler. 2 break points for Agassi. The most important point perhaps in the match to date. Wind is quite fierce right now. That's what stopped Schuettler in his tracks as he prepared to serve now. Agassi sensed the time with the wind there is fierce now. Fierce as it's ever been through this week. But that was the time for control of the shot, not to go for anything fancy. And he was dead right. Schuettler fell into the trap. Agassi breaks again.
The body language doesn't look promising from Schuettler in that opening game. He said that perhaps he's looked for excuses throughout the week as to why he's not playing his best tennis, but when you're in the middle of a semi-final dogfight, that's not the time to be examining what's going wrong and what you're unhappy with. It's the time to be focusing on what you have, what's working well for you at that moment in time, and then fully focused on the job in hand.
Seven successive games for the American. Agassi shot right to the line.
Really good control from the American on the little slice shot. Sometimes he's not quite as good as that as he is elsewhere on the court, but there the length was impeccable. Even though Schuettler had made the distance, unable to control the ball.
Looked out on that goal from TMI, which is invariably right.
13.
Schuettler didn't complain about it though. He was right on top of the ball and didn't complain.
He's got other things to worry about at the moment, the German.
Agassi stepping right on top of him, and Schuettler is all over the place.
14-15.
time he did get the call. Deserved it.
Early in the match, Agassi wasn't moving for those, and he's since started to read the Schuettler shots a little bit better. Therefore, he's able to get a little bit of a head start. Needs to have some excellent footwork and balance to be able to execute his shots properly. Something that he focuses on fiercely in practice.
Well played. Shot to the baseline, set it up. Good work from Schuettler.
Certainly did. That was the shot that put Agassi under enough pressure, forcing him to just play defensively, and then perhaps Agassi thinking that he was maybe going to try a little drop shot there. Schuettler with the double bluff, working well.
Backing serve, he's serving better and better. First serve percentage now up to 56. Remember, it was languishing in the low 40s for a long time. 8 games in a row.
I couldn't see a gap on that one. Couldn't see a space there, mate.
Yep, hit 2.
Okay.
So Schuettler looking a lot better in that game, and he stems the tide. He was hemorrhaging games and points. Back on track there, but a lot of work to do if he's to venture any further.
Well, obviously, it was a vital game for Schuettler to have won. Impossible, I think, to get back into the match had he found himself a double breakdown in the third. And it's going to be a question now of whether Agassi is going to be able to sustain his level of play, or he's going to allow Schuettler back into the match. I think maybe getting to the stage of losing 8 games in a row, Schuettler kind of feeling, well, really, I've got nothing to lose, and slightly more relaxed about the situation, as opposed to mental frame of mind in the second set when he was getting uptight about everything from grips to court surfaces to the way that he was playing. So I think now that he might have an opportunity to play slightly better, but much will depend on Agassi's concentration and focus throughout the next few games.
Well, he's optimistic. It's not all over there. To wonder what you'll do when you look up at the video screen and you're honest. So that's the situation. Down in the nitty-gritty, Agassi, the leader here.
15 love.
Only his second ace of the match, 102 miles an hour, but you could see the side on that. Very close. I guess there wasn't any doubt.
15
See again. Third double.
If you're going to double, that was a good one in terms of the ball went over the net and he only just missed it on the sideline because he was attempting to hit a kick serve. So won't be too down about that.
15-30.
What about that? Maybe that shot off the surface, not sure. Seemed to be in position. Good return though from Schuettler, one of his few so far. Now, pressure on. How do you respond? Just fell into the court on that side. Absolutely exhausting rally. Schuettler, even Schuettler, sucking in a little bit of air there. He was working.
It's been a long, hard year. And it doesn't get any easier when you're playing against Agassi. Likes to make his opponents run as much as possible, and you can see there Schuettler under a lot of pressure throughout the rally.
13-14.
It's a shot that's gone off periodically through this week. What a turnaround. Suddenly an awful game from Agassi. And after 8 successive games to the American, it's 2-all, and all that control that he had on the match is now history. Schuettler's going to need some putting away again now.
We've seen Agassi do that time and time again this week. Remember, he was up very easily indeed on Nalbandian in the opening set. Handed the momentum back to the Argentine. He's done exactly the same here in this deciding set.
Fine shot.
Usually Agassi would be forced to use just one hand on this short backhand and play a slice shot, but because Schuettler gave it a little bit too much air, Agassi was up there early enough to be able to use two hands, and therefore a much better chance of controlling the ball and playing a slightly more aggressive shot.
It's a pattern, isn't it? And Agassi will be very aware of that. The longer the rally, Schuettler seems to run out of energy along the line somewhere, and he gets the error.
That's a good point from Agassi's point of view, because he was able to control the direction of the ball, and Schuettler having to work exceedingly hard to stay in the rally. And you're absolutely right, Simon, the technique breaking down once the fatigue was too much for the German to handle.
Amazing physical specimen rider. That rally would have punished anyone. Well done. Second comeback.
15-30.
Yeah, it's a pattern of play that he wants to try and reproduce as much as possible. The wide serve in order to open up the court, and then stepping inside the baseline to take the ball on the rise. Because of that, Agassi had very little time to recover into the rally.
Showing all the resilience, mental and physical, that we come to expect from Minor Schuettler. Everything he is on the line right here. Another big point, 30-all, 2-all, settled. Agassi backhand breaking down.
Expect him to do a lot better in that situation. Wasn't under any pressure whatsoever. It was a routine backhand. Missed really well long of the baseline. A real let-off for Schuettler. Worrying times now for Agassi.
Round at his camp with a big fist, and well, this is uplifting performance from Minor Schuettler now. Schuettler wins 3 games in a row after losing 8 of them.
It's an amazing turnaround, really. You would never put any money on Schuettler having an opportunity to be 3-2 up when he was, as you say, lost 8 games in a row, and Agassi looked like he was in total dominance of the match. But we've seen it before this week from Agassi, the way that he's only been able to play well in patches. The first set he was very ordinary here, then he played and had a good spell, and now Schuettler is right back in the match, and all credit to him for staying tough, often in any match, let alone semi-finals of the year-end championships. When you lose 8 games in a row and you play as poorly as Schuettler did in that time, then a lot of players would have said, well, that's good enough for me, I'm out of here. But not the German, it's not in his character, and we've got a match on our hands.
He says he's stronger than ever, and he's pushing Schuettler to the very limit, but the German responding at the moment. Another good contest. Shadows now right across the court. The sun is down as far as the players are concerned. And it'll be some while before we get the lights on. It's been a slow burner, this one, but it's burning okay now. 2-3. Third set. Give him heart.
Didn't have to generate too much pace here, Agassi, because the surprise element was enough. Once he'd taken Schuettler out onto the backhand side, it opened up the court, and it's nice to see that shot working well for him again.
Just can't rely on that backhand, whether it's down the line or particularly across. He's going to
have tremendous belief in his own ability to be able to make the shot, but can't be easy when he knows that he really hasn't been able to find it for much of the match today, or for that matter this week.
Two big backhands down the line. All right, he's missed one, but he's going for them. The percentages are good.
That's the thing with these players. They have total belief in their ability to be able to make the shot, and they'll keep going for it. He doesn't really like to go to a plan B, Agassi. He likes to just continue with the way that he knows he can play best and hope that it's going to work.
We're going for the margins this game, isn't he, Agassi? Even Darren Cahill looking as if he's living and breathing every point. Oh, yes! Schuettler suddenly exploding across court.
Nice to see Cahill applauding. Match is still being played in good spirit, and this shot was well worth applauding. Great anticipation from Schuettler, and again we see his ability under extreme pressure to be able to make contact with the ball out in front of his body to get it back cross court.
'Well, to be honest, we had two pretty indifferent sets, didn't we? Agassi picked it up in the second set, but this third set has brought us what we wanted. This has been a match that's been well worth waiting for. Well, it's 1-all. He's trying to net courts.
Second serve. $30.
Hasn't done that for a while. Made up his mind very early on.
Excellent change-up from Agassi, taking the ball very early, and as soon as he saw that it was an effective return, deciding to follow it into the net, and then good shot selection on the volley to go back behind Schuettler.
Second dangerous return, and suddenly it's Schuettler now, having to dig deep.
40-30.
Only his third ace of the match. Again, Agassi will be very happy with that rally. Not just that he won it, but the pressure that he's putting, the physical pressure, compounding on Schuettler.
As soon as you get Schuettler playing single-handed slice backhands more than once in a rally, then I think you're onto a winner. And Agassi now really starting to put the pressure on Schuettler, dominating the majority of the points once he gets into the rally.
Is he starting to fray? It will be perfectly understandable the pressure, physical and mental, that Agassi's put him under since he dropped the first set. Break point for Agassi. And the ball goes miles up in the air. Agassi is broken, and maybe that's the last blow as far as Schuettler's concerned. But you must never, ever write him off. That was a big, big effort from Agassi. I think that was the pressure telling me.
No doubt about it. Again, Agassi's been able to respond, and he's now, once he gets into a rally, if it's a first serve, once he gets back on level terms, or if it's a second serve, once he's put Schuettler under pressure, then he's really able to dominate the points, and he's got the balance right now between putting Schuettler under enough pressure to force the error and also keeping his own unforced error count nice and low. And I think Schuettler's really started to feel the pressure. He wants to be able to respond with his best game, but he's just not able to do so because Agassi's able to dominate so many of the points. Naturally a counter puncher, Schuettler, and Agassi likes to be able to be as aggressive as possible throughout the rallies, and Schuettler just not able to stay in the rally long enough to be able to win enough.
There's a home run. Agassi may be on his way home. Well, he was in this position against Roger Federer, couldn't finish. No gimme here against Rainer Schuettler, particularly against Rainer Schuettler. I think physically Schuettler might be starting to fray a bit here, mentally no.
And I think we've seen throughout the week that Agassi, when he's been in commanding positions in matches, has made a few unforced errors. So Schuettler will be aware of that, and he's one of the toughest players in any given situation. So he's certainly not going to give up the chase, but the crowd really starting to get behind Agassi now, and that could be the telling factor.
Well, we were saying that Agassi needs a night match. He's very nearly got one. 4:15 local time. Sun gone down, the atmosphere, as the light lessens, the atmosphere builds. Fantastic pick-up from Agassi. Just a sensational shot.
It really was very short swing because he knew that control was of the essence, not pace. You can see there just a very little backswing and follow through.
Half of all. This is so good now from Agassi. Maybe he's going to finish like he did against Ferreira.
And he's taken every opportunity to step up the court, take the ball as early as possible, and there, as soon as he timed the backhand and saw Schuettler was having to play defensively, he was up to the net and a very nice volley.
Agassi again now, just like it was at the end of the second set. As he stepped up to a pace that Schuettler just cannot match. A game away.
Agassi leads 5-3.
Here's promoter, happiest guy in the stadium. Yeah, hoping for no more rain. I think he's quite happy to applaud Agassi from the top. I think he's been told to be a little bit quieter with his applause in the front row, so he'll go to the back row and be just as noisy. Thank you very much.
Good tennis there from both players. Schuettler in particular, though. Nice little pick-up. Agassi doing well to anticipate it, but that shot given too much air, so Schuettler was able to get the ball back over his head, and thereafter he was always in an excellent position to be able to win the point.
Strange game so far. 98 mile an hour serve, 75 mile an hour return.
Game, Schuettler.
Only Schuettler's fourth ace.
Agassi leads 5-0.
He's kept the old man honest. He's going to have to serve out for a place in his second final at the end of year championships. It's 5-4 Agassi. Well, it's up to Schuettler to make life as difficult as he can for Andre here, because we've seen over the last 2 or 3 years that there is doubt that gets into his mind.
I think he's going to have to take advantage of any second serve opportunities he gets early on in the game. Perhaps might have to take a chance and try and change direction on the ball, go down the line with either the forehand or the backhand, try and put Agassi under pressure, because in the last few games Agassi has definitely managed to shore up his game. He's not giving away many cheap points, and he's able to dominate with both the forehand and the backhand. So Schuettler certainly doesn't want to get encased too deeply behind the baseline and play second fiddle, given the importance of the game.
Plenty of sounds like that around the stadium right now.
Time.
So here we go then. After 2 hours and 1 minute, we're ready to rumble as Agassi serves for the match and a place in the final here.
Let's.
Probably headed, there was a flip. Shot from Schuettler.
That's what we said. We thought that he needs to go down the line in this game whenever possible, take a risk. But Agassi under pressure forced the American to defend. And Schuettler has, I think, the best chance of trying to win the point.
In short two. Could have made one heck of a lot of difference if that had been the right side of the line. Who knows it?
Tactic was definitely a good one. Just hit the ball a little bit too late and ran out of court.
In control of the rally from the start. Refused to relinquish control.
13-15.
Oh, yes, Rhino. Take your hat off to him. He's still there.
And he's still thinking about the best possible way to beat Agassi, staying in the rally and then changing direction when the American least expected it. The length wasn't that short. And he was able to take advantage of the shot. Very difficult to execute.
Jambled.
It was the right play. He had to go. It was a second serve return. He stood up the court. It's exactly what he needed to do, just couldn't execute.
Match point for Agassi. Still with us. He's proving mighty difficult to shake off for Schuettler. Again, the serve out wide.
So effective from that end of the court, down the slope. Ball running away from Schuettler, and therefore the German unable to control the ball.
Match point number 2. It's over. And Agassi is through to the final.
5-7, 6-1, 6-4.
A very strange scoreline. 5-7, 6-love, 6-4. Brave effort from Schuettler. But Andre will do his little routine and will be being very happy. Again, he's turned a very difficult match around for the third time here this week.
Well, he deserves his victory. He was able to play the big points slightly better than his opponent.
Schuettler goes off, and Andre can relax now. To do his second end-of-year final. And they're very happy because they brought their sign, and just before the match, Andre asked them to take it down. Imagine you spend all morning making a sign like that, and then the guy says, "Please, I don't want to see it." How awful is that? But in the end, it's fine.
It's great behind the sky, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
He won't mind them waving it now once he's got the W. He'll be delighted with the fact that he's made it through to the final. Took the scenic route, but did enough.
But another emotional week in the life of Andre Agassi. There, the bare stats don't look very good there, do they, for Andre? But it was a much better performance than that.
It certainly was. I think he'll be delighted. We've seen all week that he hasn't been able to play his best tennis for the duration of any of the matches. He's been able to play it during each of the match, and I think the key in the final, if he's going to get the right result, is he has to improve his level of play consistently throughout the match, because either Federer or Roddick, I think, will test him a little bit more, but particularly for my money, Federer.
In the end, I think the physical toll of the year and the week and the match itself probably got to Schuettler. That's when he was broken at 4-3 third set.
No doubt about it, and I think physically he is going to be tiring, but he would be okay. I think mentally he's really struggled this week. It's very difficult getting up for matches week in, week out, and of course he won back-to-back titles a few weeks ago, and I think that was pretty much the end of his year in terms of being an excellent competitor for the duration of a whole week's event. And I think this week the conditions, the weather, just been too much for him to handle. It's no good looking for excuses, but that's exactly what's happened for Schuettler, really. So a disappointing end to a great year.
Well, it was a very wet start to the day when we thought we were playing at 1 o'clock. The rain came. Then Schuettler took the first set, but in the end, Agassi took hold of the match. And although he had to fight in the third, he came through okay.